Much for that beautiful practice. Donna Wolff, founder of the Northeast Nebraska Suicide Prevention Coalition, lives in Norfolk, Nebraska. She lost her son, Zebulon, to suicide March 1st, 2009. He was 18 years old and a senior at Lutheran High Northeast in Norfolk. She is a mother, survivor of suicide loss, cosmetologist, certified in numerous suicide awareness and prevention trainings, certified in basic meditation, facilitator of support group, and has done numerous speaking events since losing her son. She's made it a point to educate herself on the one thing that kills her son, depression and mental health. After having 4 suicide attempts and after his final death, she was adamant to make a positive out of a tragedy that touched her life and touched so many others. She has received the education necessary to speak openly about suicide and about her son, so as not to trigger or do harm to anyone who hears Zebulon's story. Being Native herself, Sansi Sue, her mission in life is to now share her son's story, reducing the stigma surrounding suicide and to let others know that it's acceptable to speak about this topic, that they can survive the suicide and survive after a suicide loss.
All right, I know you guys can hear me really well, but because of the camera, they said, well, we want you to talk loud. I really don't need a microphone. I know you guys can hear me really well. So yeah, my name is Donna Wolff, and I live in Norfolk, Nebraska. So again, we will have thank you for inviting me out here for a presentation today. So again, next slide. Suicide loss survivor. So that can mean a couple different things. I always start off my talks and say that. They're like, oh my gosh, she tried to kill herself and she's still here. It can mean that. It can mean an attempter, but I'm on the other side of that, a suicide survivor. I lost my son, Zebulon, to suicide. So that's my bio. Next. Here's my kiddo, Zebulon. Zebulon Dean. Good-looking Native kid, ain't he? All of us Native people, we're good-looking peeps. We are. But at the age of 43, my whole world exploded. My tattoo, I show my tattoo all the time. It says Zebulon with a cross with his birth date on it. So now take a look at his face, you guys. That's the face of depression. That's the face of suicide. Everybody always thinks, oh, well, it's that kid over there. No, I know it's that kid. That looks like somebody that's just gonna end it all. No, this is the face of suicide. Next slide. So again, March 1st, 2009, my world exploded. I did find my son. So for anyone in here who has lost someone to suicide, please raise your hand. Quite a few of us. My heart goes out to you. I know what that tragedy is like, especially if you find your loved one. That's the most horrific thing you're ever going to do in your life. Please know you do need to get counseling. You cannot get through that type of death on your own. If my son would have died in a car accident, I would have been treated much differently. But because it was suicide, what an ugly death. The gossiping and the whispering, the finger pointing and the blaming. Well, I heard it's because of this. I heard it's because of that. No, I know it's because of that. Please know there's never one reason why someone ends their life. And we really need to change our verbiage and stop saying the words committed suicide. My son did not commit a sin, and he definitely did not commit a crime. In Native country, we say he gave his life away. Because in all of the Native tribes that we have, there is no word for suicide in our Native language. He referenced it earlier. This is not part of us. This was brought to us just like alcoholism, substance abuse, domestic violence, all the ugliness within our tribes now and our relatives was brought to us. So again, when I do my presentations, I'm using the word suicide a lot, but again, tried to please stop saying committed suicide. Our relatives gave their life away. Creator gives us life. They gave their life away. I love looking at these pictures because, again, he was probably first grade in the left picture, all sun-kissed and everything. He's born in September, so we were outside a lot. And I love, too, that you mentioned earlier, what are the prevention steps for our people? Put that phone away. I love this thing, but I hate this thing. This was not part of me growing up. I didn't have this. But our kids now, this is an extension of their arm. It's just reality, okay? We've got to put it down. Put it away. Michael mentioned earlier, it's about our traditional activities outside. The young lady in the pink was talking earlier. She felt so awesome. She went outside and she laid on the ground. Do you guys understand that that's called grounding? That's an actual thing. Mother Earth gives us energy. Get your bare feet in that grass, in the dirt. Sand and water is so healing. Anytime you can get your bare feet in Mother Earth, huge energy release from our earth to us. I have one older daughter. She's 2 years older than my son, and this was at grade school. They had a dress-up day. And I gotta confess, I love Halloween. I love dressing up. So my kids got to dress up a lot, and we won tons of Halloween costume parties. Next. So Zeb was 18 years old. He was a senior at Lutheran High Northeast. He was captain of the football team. He played basketball, was in track, was in speech band, drama. Very, very popular kid. He also suffered from anxiety his entire life. Who can tell me what anxiety is? Anybody? Now, come on, I know you guys can tell me. What is anxiety?
Being anxious.
Anxious. What does that feel like when you're anxious?
Fear.
Awful.
You're awful. What else?
Uneasiness.
All the time.
On the edge?
Uneasiness.
Uneasiness. What else?
On the edge.
Stress.
Stress. On the edge. What else does it feel like?
Dread.
Afraid.
Dread, afraid, overwhelmed. Does it feel like physical things happen, right? Your heart starts beating. You actually break out in a sweat, like, ugh, you start breathing faster. The walls can start closing in on you, can't they? So there's physical things that actually happen when you have an anxiety attack, right? My kid suffered this his entire life. 18th birthday party, his senior pictures. Looking at him, I always said he was Robin Williams. He showed the world that smile, that contagious smile, and his laugh. His favorite word was indubitably. Well, of course, indubitably. But as Robin Williams, was the world shocked when he killed himself also?
Yes.
Right. Everybody's like, what's going on? Like, he's got the world. He's famous, he's rich, da da da. No. A lot of people that have depression do not show the world their true self and hurting on the inside. So again, I said my son suffered from anxiety. Even preschool and kindergarten, his first day of school, he would get himself so worked up, he would have to make himself throw up and then he'd feel better. And I'm like, seriously, every single first day of school, every year. And I'm like, okay, dude, seriously, I'm room mother, I'm making cookies, I'm driving on field trips all the time, I'm there all the time. No, it's like I got a new teacher. Well, we went to a small parochial school. I said, you got the same kids in your grade all the time. Yeah, but it's a new teacher, I don't know. A lot of people feel like that though, don't they? Especially with COVID, are you kidding me? Ugh. The anxiety and the stress of that, the pandemic of the world. Yeah, everybody's anxiety went through the roof. Next picture. All right, Zeb was diagnosed manic depressive and borderline schizophrenic at the end of his life. He did have 4 attempts before his final death. He was seeing a counselor and taking medication, but he would not help himself manage his illness. Now, depression is an illness. It's a true medical illness. We need to stop saying and labeling people, that kid was nuts, that kid was crazy. No, he had a true chemical imbalance in his brain. If you yourself have never experienced depression, thank Creator for that. If you do not know what that deep, dark hole of depression truly looks and feels like, and who knows what schizophrenia is? What's that?
It's you experience delusions and hallucinations.
Illusions,
Delusions and hallucinations.
hallucinations. They start hearing voices in their head. I'll never forget that one day. My son's like, Mom, make him shut up. I go, make who shut up? He goes, God, they're just talking to me all the time in my head. I go, who's telling you what? He goes, well, they are. I go, well, who's they? Well, they're in my voice. They're in my head like all the time. I go, what are they saying to you? They're telling me to do really bad things. I go, please, Lord, just don't hurt anybody else. That's all I ask. But if you truly do not understand, I at the time was just a mom and a hairdresser at the time. I did not have all the education that I do now. I wish I would have. Hindsight being 2020, yeah, I wish I would have had all the tools in my toolkit that I have now. But I didn't. I was very much like a lot of other families. Ooh, we need to keep this secret. Don't tell anybody you're at a counselor. Don't let them see you going into that counseling session. Don't you dare tell anybody. This is our family secret. Hindsight being 2020, I would have told the world. Would you watch out for my kid? Can you help me track him down? Have you seen him? Is he struggling? I would have shouted from the rooftops if I wouldn't have that education, but I didn't have that. The history of this is you want to hide it because it's so shameful and you feel guilty. Are you kidding me? As mom? I'm mom. I'm supposed to save him. What did I do? What didn't I do? What did I say? What didn't I say? Yes?
Yeah, I want to, you mentioned it, you brought it up about people talking about like, oh, we don't want people to embarrass us.
Yep.
I feel like parents nowadays, they don't want the blame, or they don't want to be like, oh, don't associate us with like those people.
Yeah, because, well, again, believe me, I'm the bad parent because I couldn't save my kid. And I did get blamed for my son's death. I will tell you that my former husband at the time and myself found my son together in our home. First thing that came out of his mouth was, oh, well, look what you did. You were such a horrible mother, he had to get away from you. And I said, well, my fingerprints aren't on that gun, thank you very much. So March 1st of 2009, I lost my son. I lost my 25-year marriage, and I lost the home that I helped build. I lost it all. So that man at the time made it very clear, no, she's to blame. Even though I had him at counselors and on medication, doing everything humanly possible that I knew at that time, didn't matter. That's your fault. You did this. So yeah, and people believed him. As a hairdresser, I lost tons of business because people were afraid to come in and get their hair done by me, and I'm like back here. I'm like, they were so afraid that I was going to talk about my kid and what happened. It's like, oh honey, no really, we need to talk about your hair because look at it today. We got to talk about your hair. But no, I lost tons of business. My counselor told me that I had PTSD because I found his body. Very, very horrific. I was having horrible nightmares. I couldn't sleep. I could not stay in that home because every single time I walked up the stairs, that deadly silence to this day I cannot handle. I cannot hear a gunshot. I can't smell gunpowder. I can't have complete silence. Like the music that we were playing at lunch, I had to have that for me. Because complete silence is a trigger for me. I know my triggers, so I make sure to keep myself safe. So if anybody currently that is struggling with thoughts of suicide, please reach out for help. There's tons of help. Anyone here that has lost a loved one to suicide, please know that there's tons of help out there. You do not need to go through this death alone. It's a totally different death than any other death you're ever going to experience. It truly is. Know what triggers you, keep yourself safe.